Hello and welcome to the Medical Sales Podcast. I'm your host, Samuel, founder of a revolutionary medical sales training and mentorship program called the Medical Sales Career Builder, and I'm also host of the Medical Sales Podcast. In this podcast, I interview top medical sales reps and leading medical sales executives across the entire world. It doesn't matter what medical sales industry, from medical device to pharmaceutical to genetic testing and diagnostic lab, you name it, you will learn how to either break into the industry, be a top 10% performer within your role, or climb the corporate ladder. Welcome to the Medical Sales Podcast. And remember, I am a medical sales expert sharing my own opinion about this amazing industry and how it can change your life. You're a distributor for BioPro.
Correct.
Okay. How many distributors does BioPro have?
Good question. I couldn't tell you that. I don't know.
Okay. But you're their sole distributor. You don't sell for anyone else, just BioPro.
Oh no, I've got many different lines, and over the years, that was one thing I was going to kind of get to. I mentioned the ultrasonic osteotome, my Sonics. I was a distributor there. They wanted to hire me direct to be a direct employee, and frankly, with that comes a lot of the different rules, regulations, restrictions, different things, reporting.
Yeah.
And I just wasn't going to do it. I had been independent too long, and having worked in pharmaceutical sales for 20 years, I've got a pretty good idea what the corporate world's like. And I was like, I'm just going to be my own guy. Sorry.
That's so interesting. Okay, so hold on. So right now you are an independent sales rep distributor for BioPro and many other companies. You have your own LLC, you are your own LLC. You come from the 20 years in the pharma world.
Yep.
So let's go back, man. We got to know. Gosh, 20 years. That's significant. And what I mean is, it's significant to go from 20 years in the pharma world to the medical device. I mean, I don't see that type of transition that late in the game often. And the people that attempt it, they're not successful. So you were. So that's awesome. So
it's funny you should say that, because I remember talking with people and interviewing and doing different things. Like, you'll never be able to do that.
Like you'll never be taken seriously.
Right. And I'm like, for decades, I'd be around hospitals or clinics or what that, and I'd see these guys running around in scrubs that weren't doctors, and they go into surgery and okay, whatever. I mean, I could do that. Like, you got to really kind of stalk your doctor. And unless you're across the red line in surgery in a facility, a lot of times you have no access. You can go walk up and cold call a doctor's office and give the card. And the receptionist's like, well, he's seeing patients. I'm like, well, I know, but I'd like to set the appointment. Well, he doesn't see reps. So you'd have to figure out where he was and be able to approach him or her, whoever it may be.
Right.
Little goofy things. Like one thing that I learned, and it's so funny, like the FedEx envelope, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And this is, it sounds ridiculous, but I can't tell you how many surgeries I've booked over the years with this. You get a FedEx envelope like that. You put a note in there with a technique guide for a surgical procedure, your business card, and a handwritten note. And then you put something like, Dr. Smith, personal and confidential, do not open. And you'd be amazed how often that will get to the doctor's desk. And he'll open it. And then you're going to from the doctor.
This is you're giving pearls away. So you put on the envelope wait, say it again.
Personal and confidential.
Personal and confidential on the letter.
On the envelope, like right here, it'd be blank.
Oh,
Dr. Smith.
You purposely get a FedEx envelope, and then you put personal confidential, and you put your marketing material in it.
Yep.
And so you'd leave this with the front office, or you actually mail it, or what?
I'd leave it with the front office, and probably I don't know, 2 out of 3 would get thrown away, 4 out of 5. But every once in a while, you get a phone call. It'd be like this.
Wow.
You're driving like, and you're who? Oh,
hold on. Let me take some notes. So, do you have a letter like in there that says, "Hey, reach out to me this way," or do you explain? Okay, so you explain everything.
Oh, for sure, yeah. I'm a rep for this company. I understand this is a procedure you do. I'd like to be able to stop and present this to you or meet with you. Yeah.
That is cool, Bruce. Gosh, please share more. What are some other tricks of the trade, please?
Well, again, that whole one of the beautiful things about when I had the Misonics line is that this ultrasonic osteotome would bill out at between $1,500 to $2,000 a case. I'd make, depending on the place, 15 to 30% of that. But it was disposable. Okay, so I would do an in-service to, I don't know, 20, 50 people, whatever. I'd get the cart there, I'd get the machine in there, I'd make sure it was all up and running, so I wouldn't have to be at every case, which was mailbox money. And I'll tell you, if you talk to some of these guys that do total joints and all that, and you're like, well, you don't have to be at the case. That doesn't make any sense. I go, yeah, it's mailbox money, dude. It's the best thing ever. You don't have to be at every single case. So if you can get a disposable item on the shelf in in Buffalo General or Erie County Medical Center or wherever your place is, or Rochester. And I had this in every facility from about Syracuse down to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And I mean, they would restock. I'd go attend cases. But here's my point. I would have an open ticket because I could go attend any case I wanted to. And a lot of times you don't have access to these facilities unless you have a surgery. It's like, no, you're not just allowed to come in here and walk around and, I don't know, shake hands, introduce yourself. So I had this open-ended ticket. Well, I'm just doing inventory. I'm just making sure the cart, whatever excuse it be. So I just go wander around a hospital all day and figure out, okay, that guy uses, and I introduce myself, and just bump into him, and yeah, it was so cool because again, I just had a pass that very few other reps would have. Yeah, and that was very cool.
And you chalk it off to, I'm just checking inventory.
Inventory, got to make sure the machine's working properly. We may have had a recall. I want to make sure that lot number's that, whatever it may
be. Yeah. That is cool. You said you had 3 though. What's the third one?
The FedEx thing was one. Just at the sink selling.
What's the at the sink selling? What's that?
Well, you'd bump into them like you're scrubbing in. Right. You go, oh yeah, Doc. I'm over in room 4. You were, and I. Oh, you were, just like that, and you'd have to start this conversation up with the doctor.
So a complete fabrication, but who cares?
We'll put it this way: if I had a surgery at 11 o'clock in the morning, and I got to the surgery center at 7:30 or 8 in the morning, okay, that would be a pretty unmitigated waste of time. Well, which is more efficient? You being in the facility, the locker room, wherever it may be, where all the surgeons are, or are you out there knocking on doors, leaving business cards? No, you got to go to where they are, and that's what I call behind the red line. And again, I can't tell you how many times, and sometimes it wouldn't go well. There was a guy in Niagara Falls once who, I'm just chatting with the guy. I mean, I knew exactly who he was, and I kind of targeted him, and he freaks out. I mean, he is screaming and effing swearing, and he gets the facility manager. This guy's talking to me. He's like, yeah, he was at the sink. I didn't like walk into his room. Wow. And I've had that happen with me where there's one tall, athletic, attractive blonde woman that comes to mind. She was in wound care, and she would just wander into people's rooms all the time. And I'd say to the surgeon, "Well, she's not in on this case. She's not supposed to be here because I can see what's going to happen. She's going to distract the doctor. She's going to talk to him about all the stuff from, how much snow we had today to the price of gas, Lord knows what." And a lot of times doctors are like, "Well, yeah, it's okay. She can stay," So, everybody's got their unique attributes to be able to sell, and you just have to know what they are, capitalize on it. But that having something in there, again, a disposable on the shelf. And I still do that with BioPro occasionally. BioPro's got some very, very good disposable osteotomy guides that are used for first metatarsal modifications, if you will, resecting bone and doing things like that. And I have to go to the facility and count and make sure that nothing's expired or what have you. And if I want to run around, then I'll go run around.
Wow, man. That's cool. Okay, so I want to explore a couple things.
Sure.
So talk to me about this 20-year pharma career. Where take us to the beginning when you started in pharma, what you specialized in. How far did you take it? Did you stay a sales rep? Did you transition to different, more specialty pharma? Did you get into leadership? And really, what happened where you said, I am now taking this to medical device sales? Go ahead.
Well, what happened was I got fired from Abbott Laboratories circa, I think 2008, 2009, after about a decade with them. They acquired a company that I worked for called Knoll Pharmaceutical Company.
how far did you get in that 10-year career? So you stayed a rep or you got into
Oh yeah.
leadership? Or?
No, they had asked me to become a manager, and the beauty, especially back in the day, of being an outside sales rep before everything was like paper. You didn't have laptops or whatever. Circa 1990, was that you were just independent. I mean, you go out and drive around in your car, and you'd have a list of targets, and you'd find new people, and it was all you.
Do your thing. Just do your thing. Yep.
Well, yeah, and this is probably not the best, but it's truthful. I'm very transparent. I would be able to work my schedule over a period of a week where I knew that Friday, if I really was aggressive during the week, by 1 o'clock on Friday, I'm on the golf course because I made all my calls. I was hitting all my targets. I had everything under control, and I kind of earned that time, if you will. The flip side of that too was it was something that was always interesting. We always had, I don't know, 2.5, 3 weeks or whatever it was for vacation time. And having two small kids or what have you, I really wasn't into taking 2 weeks off and going to the Florida Keys or whatever it might be. So I would work right through vacation. And people would say, well, why didn't you just take the day off or go to the movies or whatever? It's like, because I'm a commission sales rep, and I now have bonus time to go out there and make more calls than the other guy and make more money. And
what were you selling at Abbott Laboratories?
Oh, all kinds of different things. The one drug that was the ultimate, I don't know, moneymaker, was a drug called Synthroid, levothyroxine sodium, for thyroid disorders, either hypo or hyperthyroidism. And when you talk about disease states and you see all the advertising, which I'm not real fond of on TV these days, that was a disease state that's not really very dramatic. There's blood pressure and cardiac meds and psychotic meds and all the pain meds, all the different things that are out there. And I sold a bunch of those things too. I sold a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor called sibutramine Meridia. But back to Synthroid. But Synthroid was a drug that was dosed in micrograms, okay? Most drugs are milligrams, but micrograms. And drugs like Coumadin, digoxin, Synthroid are narrow therapeutic index drugs. They have a very narrow window. It has to be very, very precise dose. Long story short, the drug went off patent, and Abbott was just thinking like, oh, this is just going to be, we're just going to lose so much money, but what have you. Sure. And it was probably one of the most amazing things because, when a drug goes off patent, you lose 90% of your revenue. It's just, the drug's gone. It's generic, cheap generic.
Yeah.
Well, if you were on, for example, Samuel, 100 micrograms, and you're a generic manufacturer, and you've got a window of something in the neighborhood at 10% high or 10% low on that 100 microgram target, you're probably not going to put more drug in there. You're going to put less to make money. Why would you put more drug in? It makes no sense. So if you cut the dose in half to 50, the point is the generic drugs just weren't working as well as Synthroid. And I would go to Dr. Smith and say, well, I'll tell you what, Dr. Smith, you need to keep your patients on Synthroid. Well, why? Bruce is generic. And I go, because they're not going to be the same. Mark my words. And I would use this example. If you had a male doctor, I would say your wife's on Synthroid, and she gets swapped out at the pharmacy and goes to a generic. And all of a sudden, she's a little lethargic. Cognitively, she's not quite there, but she's compliant. She's taking her medication. She's not getting the same dose. And that sales pitch worked. I'm telling you. Doctors would see the patients change. They were not the same. And I'm like, dude, that's because they're not on the branded drug. You got to keep them on the branded drug. And it was amazing. Initially, the market share dropped, but then it would back up. Wow. And it continued to be this, multi-million dollar product. Wow. And very, very seldom can that happen because if you had, I sold ACE inhibitors and calcium channel blockers and all kinds of different things. It just wouldn't happen. One other thing that I guess I grew up or saw was the Sackler family and the whole opioid thing.
Yep.
And how those people would literally buy doctors' business.
Yep.
It was so corrupt, Sam. I remember once raising my hand in a meeting in Chicago and saying, like, well, if we incentivize Dr. Jones to put 10 patients on this drug and then track them, and then we send him and or his office manager, which happens to be his wife, to Los Angeles for a meeting. Okay, aren't we kind of buying business? I got like literally hauled out.
Shut your mouth.
Get paid to count pills and buy lunch. You don't. I mean, this is the narrative.
Wow,
Oh, it was
the brutal
amazing.
days.
Yeah, and it was just. I knew that it was just not professional or immoral or corrupt.
Right.
But I went along with it. I got paid, and yeah, the bonus checks that used to roll in from some of those things were amazing because I had ibuprofen and hydrocodone. A drug called Vicodin has acetaminophen.
You made a killing.
Yeah, and Vicoprofen. Okay.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And this is something too. My God, I got asked to go to a meeting. It was in New York, and they're like, "Brown, what are you doing, man? Your market share is just off the charts." And I go, "Well, I'm telling doctors the advantages of the ibuprofen versus acetaminophen when it comes to people who are addicts or diverting." And like, "What are you talking about?" I go, "Well, if you had a doctor that was a huge opioid prescriber, and I came in and started talking to you about the safety, efficacy of this drug, and then I tell them this message, which they just blew their minds. They said, you've got 7.5 milligrams of hydrocodone and 200, 400, whatever it was, of ibuprofen. That's very effective. That's a big dose, okay, for pain relief. And if someone comes in and tells you it's not working, I would bet 9 out of 10 times they're diverting, okay? They're selling it, they're snorting it, because when you snort ibuprofen, it doesn't do anything. You snort ibuprofen, it burns. It's you shoot it up, it burns. It was a wildly different side effect if you're using it off label or out of indication. And I told that story to these manager guys. They're like, "God, man, we can't tell doctors that." I go, "Well, why not? Because it's not on the label. It's not indicated." I go, "Well, I don't know what to tell you, but it's working."
Bruce was Mr. Rogue. Today that would just after the Sunshine Act that just would not fly.
There's no question. I mean,
you'd be gone before you got to your car.
It was bizarre too. And I remember in that day, the opioid days, depending on what state you're in, like New York, you wouldn't be able to have it, but in Pennsylvania, you could sample things like that. Yeah. They give you scheduled drugs. Yeah. And I remember one time I go out to my car and there's this dude kind of like stalking me. He's like, "Yo, drug man, what you got in the bag, man?" I go, "I got nothing for you."
Wow.
And I mean, it'll make you poop. You'll go blind. He's like, "Oh, come on, man!" And he's chasing me around the car.
Oh wow.
And
that's crazy.
Oh, it happened back in the day, especially if they knew you had narcotics or a scheduled drug or something.
Easy. Wow. Yeah. I hope you're enjoying today's episode. And I want to let you know our programs cover the entire career of a medical sales professional. From getting into the medical sales industry, to training on how to be a top performer in the medical sales industry, to masterfully navigating your career to executive level leadership. These programs are personalized and customized for your specific career and background, and trained by over 50 experts, including surgeons. Our results speak for ourselves, and we're landing positions for our candidates in less than 120 days in top medical technology companies like Stryker, Medtronic, Merck, Abbott, you name it. Would you run an Ironman race without training and a strategy? You wouldn't. So why are you trying to do the same with a medical sales position? You need training, you need a strategy, and you need to visit evolveyoursuccess.com, fill out the application, schedule some time with one of our account executives, and let's get you into the position that you've always dreamed of. Gosh, okay, so you were living your best life. 10 years, you get laid off. So, by the way, was this layoff, you knew it was coming, complete surprise? What was it?
I could tell there was kind of some tension. I had won every district, regional, and national award in the American pharmaceutical business.
Right.
And I was credentialed. I mean, I knew at that point, if I wanted to stay, that I could find a job. Somebody would hire me. There's no question about it. Right. And back to your point, like getting into the surgical business, I remember this is like it's scar tissue. It's almost like there was a little video or promo prior to the Bills game about Josh Allen being told he'd never be successful. He'd never be able to. I had that same thing. I was driving back once from a job interview in Pittsburgh, Erie, Pennsylvania, where I lived. And I remember this guy saying, like, in the meeting, like, he's going like this, "I just don't think you have what it takes." I'm like, "Dude, I have what it takes. Yes, sir.
Like, give me a chance."
I didn't get the job, and I'm almost in tears. Like, I'm never going to be successful. And I just kept going and going and going. And I remember when it was like in the Eiffel Tower, having a private can women dancing show. This was all for the pharmaceutical people. And all I could do was think about that guy. Like I want to take a picture and say, dude, I did it. I knew if I stuck with it, I could do it. Nobody was going to stop me, you know?
Mm. What
Um,
was the company? Yeah, like take us to the moment. Like, was it a phone call? Was it like you got the job? Like, take us to the moment of you learning when you first learned you are officially
hired.
a hired
Yeah.
medical device sales rep. Take us to that moment. Give us everything.
It was from that guy from BioPro. That's why I'm so loyal to BioPro, because they were the first ones to put me on as a 1099 rep. Reps typically make half of what the commission is, which is somewhere in the neighborhood of 30-35%. So it was zero income, but it was an opportunity to be the sales rep or to rep things. And it was like, okay, I got to take this with everything I got. I got to go full core, full bore, pardon me. And went to training in Michigan, Port Huron, Michigan, where BioPro is based. It's a small company, it's a tiny company, but it really fit exactly what I thought I wanted to do. Again, not these, and I've been in plenty of spine cases that they're 3 hours, 4 hours. I'm kind of ADHD. I can't focus that long. Maybe I can go in for my hour, distal radial fracture or
Sure,
whatever it is,
sure,
and they. And another reason I want to do extremities because a hip or a knee is anywhere from 15, 20, $30,000.
sure.
My stuff bills out at a few grand, right? So it wasn't on the screen back then the way everything now is with the group purchasing organizations and the
Sure,
managed care,
sure.
and then these incentives to do different volumes when you hit different volumes with different companies. For example, Stryker, Zimmer, Synthes, whatever it may be. Arthrex is huge in this area. um, they'd reduce the price. They'd give you a volume discount. So there's very little incentive from a financial standpoint for them to want to, frankly, screw around with something like BioPro. Or um, I used to rep a company called Skeletal Dynamics down in Miami, and it's a very good company. There's no question about it. They have some of the best innovative products from a guy named George Orbe. George Orbe, instead of a dorsal volar plate or dorsal distal radial plate, pardon me, he would go volar,
Mhm.
and it wouldn't be as proud. It wouldn't ride. I've got, I could go get a bunch of like sawbones and show you plates and screws. But that was a fantastic company. They had all kinds of different things. They had a radial head that was a fascinating case. I worked for a company called the Conventus that had an intermedullary cage.
Mhm.
So a proximal humerus reduction. Instead of just slapping a plate on from the exterior, they drill in, the cage would expand intramedullarily,
Wow,
and then they would take screws and fasten, fix it from there, which was
wow.
really bizarre. Yeah,
Yeah, that's cool.
fantastic. Yeah, fantastic surgeon that used to be here. And again, COVID blew up a lot of things, but he said the heck with Western New York. Paul Patterson, who actually put a plate in my ulna right there. Can't really see it.
Wow. So you sold for a company whose product you had inside you.
I don't know whose plate it was. No, it wasn't
Okay.
me,
Okay.
because that's kind of, and that's another problem really with the medical sales business. In some ways, is that there are so many things that are Hey, I've had doctors go, "It's plates and screws, man. I could
Like
give
there's
a
no
damn."
difference. Just
Really?
whatever. Just pick one. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And unless you've got something that's really innovative or unique
Right,
and
right.
different.
What's the real difference? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why the medical sales rep is so important, right? Because every physician and surgeon I talk to, they all say the same thing, and they say it boils down to my relationship with the rep. Because all these products, I kind of look at them the same. So if the rep is amazing, if they're there when I need them, if they can be that right hand man or woman to me the way I need them to be, then I'm going with that product. So I hear that a lot.
What you just said, Samuel, and this is going to sound braggadocio, but I put a lot of time and effort into my career, and I'll mention it though. The guy I just mentioned, Paul Patterson, when he was leaving Buffalo, I made sure to get a meeting with him because I want to stay in touch with him. We became, kind of friends. Um, and in a nutshell, he and another guy in Erie, Pennsylvania, who's retired from surgery, John Lubon, who's they're both probably nationally known guys. Both of them said in in short terms that, Brown, you're one of the best reps I ever had. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
me? What? What? He said, you would show up, you'd be able to answer any question I ever had. The trays were there, the implants were there, and everything went smoothly. And it's like, well, that's my job. He goes, yeah, but and I know that a lot of people
You're
can't do
surprised
that.
how many people do this.
Yeah.
Right.
But it was a real compliment. And I
Yeah.
kind of looked at the mirror one time. It's like, you've done a good job, man. I mean, you've been successful. And it was very humbling for those two guys to say that without me like trying to go like, am I good or am I cool? Or
Right.
they brought it up.
So
It was
tell
very
me,
rewarding.
I think, and share what you can, Bruce, but I think it's important that people understand why even what you did going from something like a big pharma structure to this 1099 where you've got to eat what you kill. So on that note,
Yep.
let's talk about the lifestyle it's afforded you. And like I said, share what you can. But what kind of money can someone that hears this and says, you know what, I wanna try what he tried. What can they anticipate if they do it right and they find the right product and they connect with the right companies as a 1099? What type of money are we talking about? What kind of lifestyle can we expect to have if we do it right?
Well, if you're 1099, for sure, in my opinion, you've got to have half a dozen different companies that you rep. And that can be a real problem if you're repping two companies. And believe me, I got into this and got into some real problems that have competing devices. If you're selling distal radio plates in a place like Buffalo, New York, where whoever the rep is, it may be the guy out of Rochester right now. He's still the skeletal dynamics rep. I mean, there are so many broken wrists from people falling. I used to be able to predict the weather, like, oh boy, I'm going to make a lot of money next week because it's just
Wow,
lousy weather.
that. Okay.
Like in the middle of July, you're not going to have slip and falls. But this time of year, you're busy, man. So it's kind of an odd thing, seasonal like that. You can predict there's going to be trauma. But I would say that if you had a distal radio plate that bills out for $4,000, you as the rep are going to make a commission somewhere on 15 to 30%. So you cover a couple of those cases. Then you have some podiatry or whatever. I was going to surgery probably about 4 out of 5 days a week. And then again, I had the disposable on the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
So depending on how many different companies, you do that math, 15 to 30% on small things, like again, hips and knees, they're going to be 15, 20, 30 grand. All right.
Okay.
But those bigger companies, pardon me, you're going to be a direct hire. You're not going to be a 1099 guy. So the smaller independent companies look for distributors that have experience. That's where you got to be aggressive and go out and via something like LinkedIn or different sites out there. Medical Sales Podcast, you can simply connect with people better now than you probably ever could.
Sure.
To be able to say, hey, look, I'm experienced, I'm credentialed in this area. Can we get together, meet, and talk about, do you need a rep in the area? And that's kind of what happened there, especially in the mid 2000s, early 2010s, we'll say. I got in touch with so many different distributors that were so busy that they couldn't cover cases. They're calling me like, hey, dude, can you take this case? Yeah, I'd be happy to take the case.
But if we were to put a number on it, right? And for the people listening right now that are maybe they're in pharma or maybe they're in a W-2 position. Yeah. And they're thinking, I don't like my W-2 medical device sales position, or I don't like my pharma or biotech or medical supplies position. And I keep hearing about these 1099 guys.
Right.
What, based on your experience, what salary, and it's not salary, it's commission, but what average can you look forward to if you do it powerfully, you do it well, you start strong, and you make all the right initial steps? What can you hope to earn that make you say, damn, this is something I should really consider?
I'd say easily something in the neighborhood of about $100 grand, $100,000 a year. I was just doing some quick math right there. Again, you just have to have the volume to be able to do it. And in my opinion, experience says that in order to have that volume, you need to have multiple lines. I'll say something here that this is actually very, very important to whoever may be watching this. And this is something that I never really would have thought is as bad as it is, but there's some real slimy cats out there. There's some real SOBs in this business.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And remember, I have a customized and personalized program that gets you into the medical technology industry as a sales professional, or any type of role for that matter. Become a top performer in your position and masterfully navigate your career to executive level leadership. Check out these programs and learn more at evolvesuccess.com by visiting our site, filling out an application, schedule some time with one of our account executives, and allowing us to get you where you need to be. Stay tuned for more awesome content with amazing interviews on the Medical Sales Podcast.